The blood wouldn't come up. I'd been scrubbing for 20 minutes, my knees aching against the cold tile, my hands raw and trembling. The bleach burned my nostrils, mixed with something metallic and wrong. The kitchen light above me flickered. Once, twice, casting shadows that made the red smear look bigger than it was. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I pressed the sponge harder, watching pink water swirl toward the drain. My apartment was silent except for the scrape of bristles against grout and my own ragged breathing. Outside, the city hummed. Distant sirens, late-night traffic, someone shouting in Spanish 3 floors down. Inside, there was just me and the blood. His blood. I'd told myself I wouldn't think about it, wouldn't replay the moment the knife went in, the way his eyes went wide, the sound he made. Not a scream, but something smaller. A gasp, like he was surprised. He should have been. My phone buzzed on the counter. I flinched, nearly knocked over the bleach bottle. The screen lit up. Unknown number. I didn't answer. It buzzed again immediately, then stopped. My hands were shaking worse now. I dropped the sponge and sat back on my heels, staring at the floor. The stain was lighter but still there. A ghost of what had happened. I wondered if you could ever really erase something like that, or if it just sank deeper into the foundation, into the bones of the building. That's when I heard the footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, deliberate, stopping right outside my door. I froze. No one came up to the 4th floor at 3 a.m. No one except the super, and he was half-deaf and never climbed stairs past 9 p.m. My neighbors were either gone or high or both. The footsteps didn't move. I rose slowly, my legs stiff, my pulse hammering in my throat. The kitchen knife was still in the sink, hidden under dirty dishes. I'd washed it 3 times. 4. I couldn't remember. A soft knock, not pounding, not the police. Just 3 controlled taps, almost polite. I crossed the small apartment, my bare feet silent on the worn hardwood, pressed myself against the wall beside the door. "Who is it?" Silence, then a voice, low, smooth, faintly accented. "Open the door, Miss Carver." My stomach dropped. He knew my name. "I don't know you," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Leave, or I'm calling the cops." A pause. Then, almost amused, "No, you're not." My hand hovered over the deadbolt. He was right. I wasn't calling anyone. "I'm here about the mess you're trying to clean up," the voice continued. "And I can promise you, bleach won't be enough." The air left my lungs. I yanked the door open before I could think better of it. The man standing in my hallway didn't look like a threat. Not at first. He was tall, maybe 6'2", wearing a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my rent. Dark hair swept back, sharp jawline, eyes so dark they looked black in the dim light. He held himself like someone who'd never been told no in his life. And he was looking at me like he already knew everything. "Who the hell are you?" I demanded, gripping the doorframe. His gaze dropped, just for a second, to my hands, the ones still smelling of bleach and iron. Then back to my face. "Dante Volkov," he said simply, as if that explained anything. "And you've made a very unfortunate mistake tonight." My heart slammed against my ribs. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The man you killed," he said, stepping forward. Not aggressive, just inevitable. He worked for me. The floor tilted. I tried to close the door. His hand caught it, effortlessly, and held it open. He didn't push, didn't force his way in. Just stood there, waiting. I started, then stopped. My voice cracked. "It was self-defense." "I know." That threw me. I blinked, searching his face for a trap. "Then why are you here?" Because his family doesn't care about self-defense, Dante said quietly. They care about blood. And right now, you're covered in it. I swallowed hard, stepped back. He took that as an invitation and moved inside, closing the door behind him with a soft click. His presence filled the tiny apartment, making everything feel smaller, more dangerous. He walked straight to the kitchen, looked down at the wet floor, the bucket of pink water, the sponge still sitting in the middle of the stain. You missed a spot, he said. I wanted to scream at him, wanted to throw him out, but something in his voice, calm, almost clinical, kept me frozen. What do you want? I asked. He turned to face me. The light caught his eyes differently now, and I saw something there I hadn't expected. Not anger, not cruelty. Calculation. I want to know why Marcus was in your apartment, Dante said. And I want to know what he said before you put a knife in his chest. He didn't say anything, I whispered. He came at me. Liar. The word was soft, almost kind, but it hit like a fist. Dante crossed the small space between us in 2 strides, stopped close enough that I could smell him. Expensive cologne, cigarette smoke, something darker underneath. His eyes locked on mine. Marcus was my courier, he said. He was carrying something tonight, and now it's gone. My stomach twisted. I don't have anything. Then where is it? I don't know. His jaw tightened. For the first time, I saw a flicker of something dangerous in his expression. Not rage. Worse. Patience. Here's what's going to happen, Dante said, his voice dropping lower. You're going to tell me the truth. Or Marcus's brothers are going to find you before I do. And trust me, you don't want that. I pressed my back against the wall. Why would you help me? He studied me for a long moment, then smiled, small, sharp, not remotely comforting. Because you're the only lead I have, he said, and because you're either very brave or very stupid. Either way, you're interesting. He reached into his jacket. I tensed, but he only pulled out a card, black, embossed with a phone number. Call me when you decide to stop lying, he said, pressing it into my palm. His fingers were warm, steady. Then he turned and walked to the door. Wait, I said, my voice barely audible. What if they come tonight? Dante paused, his hand on the doorknob. Looked back over his shoulder. Then you'd better hope you're as good with that knife as you think you are. The door closed behind him. I stood there staring at the card in my hand, the blood still wet on the kitchen floor. And I knew, whatever I'd started tonight, it wasn't over. It was just beginning. I didn't sleep. How could I? Every creak of the building, every car door slamming on the street below sent my heart into my throat. I sat on my couch with the kitchen knife across my lap, watching the door like it might explode inward at any moment. Dante Volkov's card sat on the coffee table. Black. Heavy cardstock. Just a phone number, no name. I'd picked it up 3 times, put it down 4. Marcus was my courier. He was carrying something. I kept replaying it. Marcus stumbling into my apartment at midnight, drunk or high or both. The way he'd grabbed my wrist when I told him to leave. How his other hand had gone to his jacket. I'd thought he was going for a weapon. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. I'd grabbed the knife from the counter. He'd lunged. I'd moved. And then there was blood. But if he'd been carrying something for Dante Volkov, where was it now? I'd checked Marcus's pockets before I panicked and dragged him out the fire escape and down to the alley. Just his phone, which I'd thrown in a dumpster 6 blocks away, his wallet, and a pack of cigarettes. Nothing else. The sky was turning gray when my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. My hands were still shaking as I answered. Hello? You're still alive. Dante's voice, smooth and dark as smoke. That's good. Are you watching me? I demanded, standing up too fast. The knife clattered to the floor. Should I be? You tell me. A pause. Then, almost amused. If I were watching you, Miss Carver, you'd never know it. I crossed to the window, pressed my face against the glass. The street below was empty except for a homeless man pushing a shopping cart and a taxi idling at the corner. What do you want? I asked. I want you to stop being stupid, Dante said. And I want you to leave your apartment in exactly 30 minutes. My blood went cold. Why? Because Marcus's brothers know where you live, and they're not as patient as I am. The line went dead. I stood there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to silence. Then I moved. 28 minutes later, I was on the street with a duffel bag over my shoulder, and my heart hammering so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I'd thrown in clothes, my laptop, the cash I kept hidden in a tampon box, my passport. Everything that mattered. The card was in my back pocket. I walked fast, keeping my head down, scanning every face. The morning commuters were starting to emerge, suits and earbuds and coffee cups. Normal people living normal lives. I didn't belong here anymore. I'd made it 2 blocks when the car pulled up beside me. Black Mercedes, tinted windows. It rolled to a stop, and the back door opened. Dante sat inside, one arm draped across the leather seat, his dark eyes finding mine through the open door. Get in, he said. It wasn't a request. I hesitated. Every instinct screamed at me to run. But where? Back to my apartment where Marcus's brothers were probably already kicking in the door? To the police, where I'd have to explain why there was blood on my kitchen floor and a body in an alley. I got in. The door closed behind me with a heavy click. The driver pulled away from the curb smoothly, merging into traffic. Inside, the car smelled like leather and that same expensive cologne. Dante watched me with an expression I couldn't read. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting right now. I gripped my duffel bag tighter. Why are you helping me? Dante leaned forward slightly, his gaze sharp. Because you have something I need, even if you don't know it yet. I already told you I don't have anything. Then where did it go? I don't know. My voice cracked. I hated how small I sounded. Marcus came to my apartment. He was drunk. He grabbed me. I defended myself. That's all that happened. You're leaving something out. I'm not. You are. Dante's voice went quiet, dangerous. People don't just show up at random apartments, Miss Carver. Marcus knew where you lived, which means either you knew him better than you're admitting, or someone sent him to you. My throat tightened. I didn't know him, not really. He used to come into the diner where I work. That's it. A diner. Yes. What's it called? Rosie's, on 5th. Dante pulled out his phone, typed something, then showed me the screen. It was a photo of the diner, my diner, taken from across the street. Time-stamped 2 weeks ago. My stomach dropped. Why do you have that? Because Marcus ate there every Tuesday for 3 months, Dante said. Always sat in the same booth, always ordered the same thing, and always tipped exactly 20%. He pocketed the phone. He was watching someone, and I think it was you. The car suddenly felt too small, too hot. Why would he watch me? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I pressed my hands against my knees to stop them from shaking. I'm nobody. I work at a diner. I live in a shithole apartment. There's nothing special about me. Then why are you still alive? The question hung in the air. Dante shifted, his arms still draped across the seat, but closer now. Marcus's brothers should have killed you already. They're not subtle men, but they haven't touched you. which means someone told them not to. Who? I don't know yet. His eyes held mine. But until I do, you're going to stay where I can see you. That sounds like kidnapping. Call it protective custody. I didn't ask for your protection. No, Dante said softly. But you took it the moment you opened your door last night. The car turned onto a bridge, the river glittering below us in the early morning light. I watched the city recede behind us, everything I knew getting smaller and smaller. What if I want to leave? I asked. Dante's expression didn't change. Then I'll let you, and you'll be dead by sunset. I believed him. We drove in silence for another 10 minutes before the car pulled up to a building I didn't recognize, all glass and steel, modern and anonymous. The driver got out, opened my door. Dante stepped out first, buttoning his jacket. Welcome to your new home, Miss Carver. I climbed out slowly, my duffel bag heavy on my shoulder, looked up at the building, then back at him. For how long? Until you remember what Marcus told you, Dante said, or until someone tries to kill you again. He started walking toward the entrance. I stood there, frozen, trying to decide if I was safer with him or without him. Then I thought about the blood on my kitchen floor, the knife in Marcus's chest, the men who were coming. I followed him inside. The apartment was on the 23rd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the river, the morning sun turning the water into liquid gold. Hardwood floors, minimalist furniture, a kitchen with marble countertops that had probably never been used. Everything was white and gray and cold. Beautiful, empty, like a museum exhibit of how rich people lived. Dante walked to the windows, his hands in his pockets, surveying the view like he owned it. Maybe he did. There's food in the fridge, he said without turning around. Fresh clothes in the bedroom. Anything you need, call the number on the card. I stood by the door, still holding my duffel bag. You're leaving? I have work. What kind of work? He turned then, one eyebrow raised. The kind you don't ask about. I should have stayed quiet, should have nodded and played along, but exhaustion and fear were making me reckless. Marcus worked for you, I said. Doing what? Moving things. What things? Things people want moved quietly. Drugs? Dante's expression didn't change. Sometimes. The casual admission should have terrified me. Instead, it just felt inevitable. Like I'd already known what he was, I just hadn't wanted to say it out loud. And now you think I have whatever he was moving, I said. I think you know more than you're telling me. I don't. He crossed the room in 3 strides, stopped close, too close. His dark eyes searching mine. Up close I could see a thin scar cutting through his left eyebrow, barely visible. Another along his jawline. Evidence of a life lived in violence. Then we have a problem, he said quietly. My pulse jumped. I'm telling you the truth. People who tell the truth don't shake like that. I forced myself to stand still, to meet his gaze. People who've just killed someone for the first time shake like this. Something flickered in his expression. Not sympathy. Recognition, maybe. Like he remembered what that felt like. He stepped back, pulled a phone from his jacket, not his own, a burner, and handed it to me. 1 number programmed in, he said. You call if anything happens. Anything. Someone knocks on the door, someone calls, you hear something you don't like, you call. I took the phone. It was warm from his pocket. What if you don't answer? I'll answer. How do you know? Because you're valuable to me right now, Dante said, and I protect what's valuable. The way he said it, flat, transactional, should have made me feel like an object. Instead, it was almost comforting. At least I knew where I stood. He moved toward the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. "One more thing," he said, not looking back. "Don't try to leave. The building has security. They'll call me, and I'll be very disappointed." "What happens if you're disappointed?" Now he did look back. His smile was small, dark, absolutely humorless. "You don't want to find out." Then he was gone. I stood there for a long time after the door closed, listening to the silence. It was too quiet. No traffic sounds, no neighbors, no sirens. Just the faint hum of air conditioning and my own breathing. I walked to the windows, 23 floors up. No fire escape, no balcony. Just glass and a very long drop. He'd put me in a beautiful cage. I set my duffel bag down and explored. The bedroom was as impersonal as the rest. King-sized bed with white sheets, empty closet, attached bathroom with a walk-in shower. The clothes he'd mentioned were still in shopping bags on the bed. Designer labels, all in my size. That should have been impressive. Instead, it was unsettling. How did he know what size I wore? He was watching someone, and I think it was you. I pushed the thought away and moved to the kitchen, opened the fridge. He wasn't lying. It was fully stocked. Fresh fruit, yogurt, expensive cheeses, a bottle of white wine, like someone had been expecting me. My hands were shaking again. I closed the fridge and leaned against the counter, forcing myself to breathe, to think. Marcus had come to my apartment. He'd been watching me for months. He'd been carrying something for Dante. And now, Dante thought I had it. But I didn't. I'd checked Marcus's pockets. I'd checked his jacket. There'd been nothing except... I froze. The cigarettes. I'd thrown them out with his phone. Hadn't even thought about them. Just a crumpled pack of Marlboros, half empty, nothing special. Except Marcus didn't smoke. I'd served him dozens of times at the diner. He always ordered black coffee and eggs, always left exact change, never once stepped outside for a cigarette break like the other regulars. So why was he carrying them? My heart started pounding. I grabbed the burner phone, then stopped. If I told Dante, he'd want to know where I'd thrown everything. And that dumpster was 6 blocks from my apartment, in an alley I'd chosen specifically because there were no cameras. If his men went looking, they'd find the body. You're already in this, I told myself. It doesn't matter anymore. But it did matter. Because finding that pack of cigarettes might be the only thing keeping me alive. I looked at the windows again. At the door with its electronic lock. At the phone in my hand. Dante had said not to leave. Had said his security would call him, but he hadn't said I couldn't try. I walked to the door, pressed my ear against it. Silence. I tested the handle slowly. It turned. Unlocked. That surprised me. I opened it a crack, peered into the hallway. Empty. Elegant wallpaper, recessed lighting, thick carpet that would muffle footsteps, an elevator at the end of the hall, a stairwell door beside it. I could run. Right now. Take the stairs, get to the street, disappear. And then what? Go back to my apartment where Marcus's brothers were waiting? Go to the police and confess to murder? I closed the door, locked it, walked back to the windows and stared out at the city, at the life I'd had 24 hours ago. The burner phone buzzed in my hand. A text, one line. Don't even think about it. I looked up sharply, scanning the buildings across the river. Nothing. No one. But somewhere Dante Volkov was watching, and he knew exactly what I'd been thinking. I spent the day pacing, kitchen to bedroom, bedroom to windows, windows to door. A loop I couldn't break, my mind spinning faster than my feet. The cigarette pack. Marcus not smoking. Dante's text arriving the exact moment I'd considered running. How was he watching me? I checked every corner of the apartment, ran my fingers along picture frames, light fixtures, the underside of furniture. Found nothing. But that didn't mean the cameras weren't there. just that they were better hidden than I knew how to look for. By the time the sun started setting, painting the river in shades of orange and red, I'd convinced myself of two things. Marcus had hidden whatever Dante wanted inside that cigarette pack, and I was being watched every second. The burner phone sat on the kitchen counter. I'd picked it up a dozen times, put it down a dozen more. If I told Dante about the cigarettes, he'd send someone to get them. And if they found the body, but if I didn't tell him, and Marcus's brothers found them first, I was trapped either way. I'd just poured myself a glass of the wine. My hands needed something to do when I heard the electronic lock click. My entire body went rigid. The door opened, but it wasn't Dante. A woman walked in. Tall, model thin, wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my car. Dark hair pulled into a sleek ponytail, red lips, eyes like chips of ice. She carried herself like she owned the building. Maybe she did. She stopped when she saw me, one perfectly shaped eyebrow arching. "So you're the little waitress," she said. Her accent was faint, Eastern European maybe. I expected someone more interesting. I set down the wine glass. "Who are you?" "Irina." She walked further in, heels clicking against the hardwood, surveying the apartment like she was appraising it. "Dante's sister." That explained nothing and everything at once. "Does he know you're here?" I asked. "Does it matter?" She turned to face me fully, and I saw the resemblance now. Same dark eyes, same dangerous elegance. But where Dante was controlled fire, she was pure ice. I wanted to see what was important enough for my brother to stash in one of his safe houses. "I'm not... Please." She waved a hand dismissively. "Don't insult me by pretending you don't understand what this is. Dante doesn't bring women here. He doesn't protect women. He uses them, pays them, forgets them." Her smile was sharp. "So what makes you different?" "I killed one of his men." The words came out harder than I intended. Irina's expression shifted, just slightly, into something that might have been respect. "Marcus," she said. "Yes, I heard. Self-defense, apparently." "It was." "I believe you." She moved to the windows, looked out at the city. Marcus was sloppy. Dante should have dealt with him months ago. But my brother has a weakness for loyalty, even when it's misplaced. I didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know why she was here or what she wanted from me. "He thinks I have something," I said finally. "Whatever Marcus was carrying." "Do you?" "No." Irina turned, studied me with those cold eyes. "You're lying." My heart kicked. "I'm not..." "Yes, you are, but not about having it." She walked toward me slowly, deliberately. "You're lying about not knowing what it is. You've figured something out. I can see it in the way you hold yourself. The way you keep looking at that phone." I forced myself not to glance at the burner. "I don't know what you're talking about." "My brother is very good at reading people," Irina said softly. "But I'm better. And right now, you're terrified of telling him something, which means either you're protecting yourself..." She paused, tilted her head. "Or you're protecting someone else." The room felt suddenly airless. "There's no one else," I managed. "No boyfriend? No family?" "No." "How convenient." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Tell me something, little waitress. Do you know what Marcus was really doing at your diner all those months?" I shook my head. "He was watching your manager," Irina said. "A man named Raymond Costa. Does that name mean anything to you?" Ray, sweet 60-year-old Ray, who always let me take the good shifts and brought donuts on Fridays. Ray, who'd worked at Rosie's for 15 years. "Ray's harmless," I said. "Ray's a federal informant." The floor tilted. "That's impossible." "Dante's been looking for the leak in his organization for 6 months," Irina continued, her voice sharp and precise. Someone's been feeding information to the FBI. Names, locations, shipments. Marcus was supposed to confirm it was Raymond and eliminate him. She paused. But he never got the chance, because he came to your apartment instead. My mind raced. Ray. An informant. Marcus watching him. Coming to my apartment that night. He came to warn me, I whispered. Irina's smile widened. There it is. Not so stupid after all. I didn't know. Of course you didn't. But Marcus did. He knew that once Raymond was eliminated, anyone close to him would be questioned. Investigated. And you... She gestured at me. You were always so kind to the old man. Always covering his shifts when he was tired. Always bringing him coffee exactly how he liked it. That doesn't mean anything. It means everything in my brother's world. Irina's expression hardened. It means you're either an accomplice or a loose end. And Dante doesn't leave loose ends. The wine glass was still on the counter. My hand inched toward it, not to drink, but because I needed something solid to hold on to. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I want to know what Marcus gave you before he died. Nothing. He didn't. He came to your apartment for a reason, Irina snapped. He risked everything to warn you about something. And I don't believe it was just his conscience. She stepped closer. Whatever he told you, whatever he gave you, I want it, and I'll pay much better than my brother. The burner phone buzzed. We both looked at it. A text from Dante. Get out. Now. Irina's face went pale. That's when I heard the elevator ding in the hallway. Footsteps. Multiple. Heavy. Fast. Irina grabbed my arm. Where's the fire exit? There isn't one. The door exploded inward. 3 men poured through the shattered door. Not Dante's men. I knew that immediately. These were thicker, rougher, wearing leather jackets and fury-like weapons. The one in front had Marcus's eyes. Same pale blue, same hard stare. His brother. There, he said, pointing at me. That's the bitch who killed him. Irina moved faster than I thought possible. She shoved me behind her, one hand disappearing into her purse. When it emerged, she was holding a gun, small, silver, steady. Dominic, she said calmly, you're making a mistake. The only mistake was Marcus trusting Volkov's scum. Dominic's voice was raw, broken. Where is he? Where's my brother's body? I don't know, I started. Liar. He lunged forward. Irina fired. The shot was deafening in the enclosed space. Dominic jerked back, clutching his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. The other 2 men rushed forward. Irina grabbed my wrist. Bedroom, now. We ran. Behind us, furniture crashed. Someone was shouting. Another gunshot. Not Irina's gun, something heavier. The window in the living room shattered. Irina slammed the bedroom door, locked it, pressed her back against it as something heavy hit from the other side. Is there a panic room? I gasped. Another exit? This wasn't supposed to be a fucking war zone, she hissed. She pulled out her phone, dialed. Where are you? I couldn't hear the response, but her face went tight. Well, get here faster. She hung up, looked at me. My brother is 5 minutes away. The door shuttered. Wood cracked. We don't have 5 minutes, I said. Irina's eyes flicked to the window. 23 floors up, then to the bathroom. She grabbed my hand and pulled me inside, locked that door too. The vent, she said, pointing to the ceiling. Can you fit? I looked up at the air vent. Small, maybe big enough, maybe not. What about you? I'll be fine. She reloaded her gun with swift, practiced movements. Go. I'm not leaving you. You're the one they want. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw something other than ice. Fear, maybe. Or respect. Marcus died protecting something. Don't let it be for nothing. The bathroom door rattled. I climbed onto the counter, my hands shaking as I unscrewed the vent cover. Behind me, Irina positioned herself, gun aimed at the door. "When you get out," she said quietly, "find Dante. Tell him I kept my promise." "What promise?" She smiled, sad, knowing. "That I'd always protect what matters to him." The door exploded inward. I pulled myself into the vent as gunfire erupted below. The space was tight, suffocating, the metal cold against my skin. I crawled forward, my heart hammering, trying not to think about Irina, trying not to hear the sounds of violence behind me. The vent shaft stretched ahead into darkness. I moved on instinct, following the faint glow of light from other vents, my knees scraping metal, my breath coming in short gasps. Behind me, the gunfire stopped. Silence was worse. I crawled faster. The shaft opened into a vertical drop, another vent, leading down. I had no idea where it went, no choice but to find out. I lowered myself carefully, my arms burning, and dropped. I landed hard in another bathroom. Different apartment. Empty. I could hear voices in the other room, a television, someone laughing, normal people, living normal lives. I was covered in dust, shaking, my mind screaming at me to move. I slipped out of the bathroom, through a living room where an elderly woman sat watching a game show, and out into the hallway. She didn't even look up. I took the stairs. 19 floors. My legs were jelly by the time I hit the lobby, but I didn't stop. Pushed through the glass doors into the evening air, into the street, and ran straight into Dante. He caught me by the shoulders, his grip firm, his dark eyes scanning my face. "Are you hurt?" I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Behind him, 3 black SUVs were parked in the street, doors open, armed men moving toward the building entrance. "Irina," I managed. "She's still—" "I know." His voice was flat, controlled, but something dark flickered in his expression. "Where are they?" 23rd floor. Bedroom. There were 3. He was already moving, barking orders to his men. They flooded into the building like a dark tide. Dante turned back to me. "Get in the car." "I need to tell you something." "Car, now." His tone left no room for argument. I climbed into the back of the nearest SUV. The leather seats were cold. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Dante stood outside, phone to his ear, his jaw tight. He looked like violence waiting to happen. Controlled. Patient. Lethal. 5 minutes passed. 10. Then his phone rang. He answered, listened, and his entire body went still. He turned slowly and looked at me through the car window. Something in his expression made my blood run cold. He ended the call, walked to the car, opened the door and slid in beside me. "Irina's alive," he said quietly. 3 casualties, all theirs. Relief flooded through me. Thank God. She told me something interesting. Dante's eyes locked on mine. About why Marcus really came to your apartment. My throat went dry. "She said you figured something out," he continued. "About what Marcus was carrying. About where it is." He leaned closer. "So I'm going to ask you one more time, Miss Carver. And if you lie to me again, I'm going to be very disappointed." His hand moved to my chin, tilting my face toward his. The touch was gentle. The threat underneath was not. "What did Marcus give you?" I could lie. Could keep pretending I didn't know. But Irina had almost died protecting me. And Dante's patience was a finite resource. "He didn't give me anything," I whispered. "But he had a pack of cigarettes in his jacket. And Marcus didn't smoke." Dante's expression didn't change. "Where are they now?" "In a dumpster, 6 blocks from my apartment." "Show me." It wasn't a request. The driver started the engine. As we pulled away from the curb, I looked back at the building. At the shattered window on the 23rd floor. At the life I'd lost somewhere between last night and right now. If we find what I'm looking for, Dante said softly, you might actually survive this. And if we don't? His smile was dark, final. Then neither of us will. The alley looked different at night. Darker. Meaner. The kind of place where bad things happened and no one heard you scream. The dumpster sat against the brick wall, exactly where I remembered it, overflowing with trash bags and the smell of rot. Dante stood beside me, his presence a solid wall of controlled violence. Two of his men flanked us, scanning the shadows with hands inside their jackets. Which one? Dante asked. I pointed to the dumpster on the right. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. I threw everything in there. The phone, his wallet, the cigarettes. One of Dante's men climbed up, started pulling out bags. The sound of tearing plastic echoed off the walls. I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly freezing despite the warm night. How did you know? I asked quietly. That they were coming for me. Dante didn't look at me. I have people watching Marcus's family. The moment they mobilized, I was notified. You were testing me. Now he did look at me. Yes. You wanted to see if I'd run. I wanted to see if you'd call. His eyes held mine. You didn't. I was going to— No, you weren't. He stepped closer. You were going to handle it yourself. Figure it out alone. Because you don't trust me. Should I? Probably not. The honesty surprised me. I searched his face for some clue to what he was thinking, but Dante's expression was unreadable. A mask he'd worn so long it might have become his real face. Boss? One of the men held up a plastic bag. Inside, a phone, a leather wallet, and a crumpled pack of Marlboros. Dante took it, examined the cigarette pack carefully, turning it over in his hands. Then he did something I didn't expect. He smiled. Not a pleasant smile. A dangerous one. Clever, he murmured. Very clever. He pulled out a cigarette, held it up to the light. The paper looked slightly thicker than normal. He tore it open carefully, and a tiny micro SD card fell into his palm. My heart stopped. That's what Marcus was carrying? I whispered. This is worth $50 million, Dante said softly. And the life of everyone on it. What's on it? He pocketed the card. Names, bank accounts, federal witnesses. Everything the FBI has been gathering on my organization for the past 2 years. His jaw tightened. Everything Raymond Costa gave them. Ray, sweet, harmless Ray. You're going to kill him, I said. He's already dead. Dante's voice was flat. My men found him 3 hours ago in his apartment. Single gunshot to the head. The world tilted. I pressed my hand against the brick wall to steady myself. Who? Marcus's brothers. They thought Raymond still had the card. He looked at me. They were wrong. You had it. You just didn't know. I couldn't breathe. Ray was dead. Because of me. Because Marcus had come to my apartment instead of— This isn't your fault, Dante said quietly. How is it not? My voice cracked. If I'd just told you sooner, then you'd be dead too. He stepped closer, his hand catching my chin again, forcing me to look at him. Marcus made his choice. He could have completed his mission, could have killed Raymond and delivered the card. Instead, he tried to protect you. That was his decision, not yours. Tears burned behind my eyes. I refused to let them fall. Why would he do that? I don't know. Something flickered in Dante's expression, almost like regret. Maybe he saw something in you worth saving. Maybe he was tired of the life. Maybe he was just drunk and stupid. His thumb brushed my jaw. So light I almost didn't feel it. Does it matter? Yes. Why? Because I killed him. The words tore out of me. Because he's dead and Ray's dead and your sister almost died, and it's all because I was too scared to breathe. Dante's other hand moved to the back of my neck, grounding me. Look at me. Breathe. I did. His eyes were so dark, so close. I could smell him. Cologne and smoke and something underneath that was just him. Dangerous. Solid. Real. You didn't start this, he said quietly. But you're in it now. And the only way out is through. Through what? Through me. The way he said it, low, absolute, sent heat through my chest. Not fear. Something else. Something I had no business feeling for a man like him. I pulled back. I should go to the police. And tell them what? That you killed a man in self-defense, hid his body, and found evidence of federal corruption? Dante's smile was humorless. They'll arrest you before you finish the sentence. Then what am I supposed to do? You're supposed to trust me. I almost laughed. You kidnapped me. I saved you. You're using me. Yes. He didn't deny it, didn't soften it. But I'm also the only thing standing between you and Marcus's family, between you and the FBI, between you and every other organization that wants what's on this card. He held up the micro SD. This makes you valuable. And I told you, I protect what's valuable. For how long? Until I don't need to anymore. At least he was honest. One of his men called out, soft, urgent. Car approaching. Dante's entire body shifted. The man touching my face disappeared. The predator emerged. Move, he said. We ran. Behind us, headlights flooded the alley. A car screeched to a stop. Doors opened. Gunfire erupted. Dante pulled me against him, his body a shield as we ducked behind the dumpster. His men returned fire. The sound was deafening. Metal on metal, glass shattering. Someone screaming. Stay down, Dante ordered. But I looked. Couldn't help myself. 3 men were advancing. Not Marcus's brothers. Different. Professional. And in the lead, I froze. The man in front wore a suit. Had graying hair. Familiar eyes. Ray's eyes. Who is that? I gasped. Dante followed my gaze. His expression went cold. Raymond's son. He has a son. Had. Dante's gun was already in his hand. And now he knows you have what killed his father. The man raised his weapon, pointed it directly at me. Dante moved without hesitation, stepped fully in front of me, his back to my chest. His body a wall I couldn't see past. If he shoots, I whispered, he'll hit you. I know. Why would you? Because you're mine now. His voice was barely audible. Final. And no one touches what's mine. The shot rang out. Dante didn't fall. The bullet hit the dumpster beside us, metal shrieking. He fired back. 3 shots, precise and cold. Raymond's son dropped to one knee, clutching his leg. Go, Dante said, shoving me toward his men. Get her out. No! His hand caught my wrist, pulled me close enough that I could see the fury in his eyes. You don't get to die tonight. Understand? Before I could answer, he pushed me into the arms of one of his men, the taller one, with a scar across his cheek. Take her to the safe house. The real one. Boss? Now. The man grabbed my arm and pulled. I fought, tried to twist back. But he was too strong. The last thing I saw was Dante advancing toward Raymond's son, gun raised, his silhouette sharp against the headlights. Then we were running. The man, I heard someone call him Alexei, dragged me through back alleys, over fences, through spaces I didn't know existed. My lungs burned. My legs screamed. But he didn't slow down until we reached another car, black and anonymous, parked 3 blocks away. Get in. I climbed into the back seat. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely buckle the seatbelt. Alexei got behind the wheel, and we were moving before my door fully closed. Is he? I started. He's fine. Alexei's voice was gruff, Russian accent thick. Boss doesn't die in alleys. You can't know that. I've worked for Dante Volkov for 8 years. I've seen him shot, stabbed, beaten, poisoned. He doesn't die. He glanced at me in the rearview mirror. But you might. So shut up and stay down. I pressed myself into the seat, my heart still hammering. The city blurred past the windows, lights and shadows and lives that didn't include gunfights in alleys. 10 minutes later, we pulled up to a building I didn't recognize. Older than the last one. Industrial. The kind of place that had been converted into expensive lofts but still remembered when it made steel. Alexei led me up 4 flights of stairs, no elevator, and into an apartment that was the opposite of the pristine cage Dante had put me in before. This one was lived in. Dark furniture, books scattered on tables, a leather jacket thrown over a chair, whiskey bottles on a shelf, the faint smell of cigarettes. This is his, I said. Yes. Why bring me here? Because no one knows about this place except his inner circle. Alexei moved to the windows, checked the street below. And because he told me to keep you alive. This is the safest place in the city. I walked slowly through the apartment, touching nothing but seeing everything. A chess set on the coffee table, mid-game. A book on the nightstand, Russian literature, pages worn. A photo on the dresser, the only personal thing I'd seen. I picked it up. 2 children, a boy and a girl, maybe 7 and 5. Dark hair, sharp eyes, smiling at something off camera. Dante and Irina, Alexei said from behind me. Before? Before what? Before their father was killed. Before Dante took over. Before everything turned to blood. I set the photo down carefully. How old was he? 15. 15. My throat tightened. I tried to imagine being 15 and inheriting an empire built on violence. Tried to imagine becoming what Dante was now. I couldn't. My phone, the burner, buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out, hands still shaking. A text. You're safe? I typed back. Yes. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Good. Stay there. Don't open the door for anyone. What about you? The response took longer this time. I'm finishing this. I stared at the screen, wanted to ask what that meant, wanted to demand he come back, tell me he was okay, tell me what happened to Raymond's son. But I didn't, because I already knew what finishing this meant in Dante's world. I set the phone down and walked to the window. The city spread out below, millions of lights, millions of people, all living their simple, complicated, normal lives. And I was here. In a mafia boss's apartment, with blood on my hands and a micro SD card that could destroy everything. How had this become my life? You should eat, Alexei said. I'm not hungry. Eat anyway. Boss will be angry if you collapse. I turned to look at him. Why does he care? Alexei studied me with eyes that had seen too much. You really don't know? Know what? He shook his head, almost smiling. You will. Before I could ask what that meant, his phone rang. He answered in rapid Russian, his expression going hard. He hung up and looked at me. Raymond's son is dead, he said simply. So are his men. I should have felt something. Relief, maybe. Or horror. But I just felt numb. When is he coming back? I asked. I don't know. I nodded. Sat down on the couch, my legs finally giving out. The numbness was spreading, replacing everything else. Fear, adrenaline, the ability to feel anything at all. Alexei disappeared into the kitchen, came back with vodka and 2 glasses, poured without asking, handed me one. Drink. I did. It burned going down, sharp and clean. He poured another. He'll keep you alive, Alexei said quietly. Whatever it costs. Whatever he has to do. You understand this? No, I don't understand any of this. Then let me make it simple. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, his scarred face serious. Dante Volkov is the most dangerous man in this city. He's killed more people than you've met. He's built an empire on blood and fear and absolute control. He paused. But he looked at you in that alley. And he made a choice. To be the shield instead of the sword. And Dante doesn't do that for anyone. My chest tightened. He's just protecting an asset. If you were just an asset, he would have sent someone else to take the bullet. Alexei's eyes held mine. He stood there himself. You know what that means? I couldn't speak. It means you're in more danger than you think, he said, because people who matter to Dante Volkov don't survive long. They become targets, weapons, leverage. The door opened. We both turned. Dante stood in the doorway, blood on his shirt, exhaustion carved into his face. His eyes found mine immediately. We need to talk, he said. Alexei stood, grabbed his jacket. I'll be outside. The door closed behind him. Dante and I stared at each other across the apartment. The space between us felt infinite and impossibly small at the same time. You're hurt, I said. It's not my blood. Somehow, that was worse. He crossed to me slowly, each step deliberate. Stopped close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I lied to you, he said quietly. My heart stopped. About what? About why I'm keeping you alive. His hand moved to my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. It's not just the card anymore. Then what is it? His eyes searched mine. Dark, dangerous, impossibly honest. You. I couldn't breathe. Dante's hand was still on my face, his thumb tracing a line from my cheekbone to my jaw. The touch was gentle. Impossibly gentle for hands that had just killed 3 men. What are you saying? I whispered. I'm saying I should have let you go. His voice was low, rough. Should have taken the card and sent you somewhere safe. Paid you off. Made you disappear. That's what I do with problems. But you didn't. No. His other hand came up, cradling my face between his palms. I brought you closer instead. Put you in my safe house. Sent my sister to check on you. Stood between you and a bullet. He leaned in, his forehead nearly touching mine. I'm making mistakes I haven't made in 15 years. Because of you. My heart was hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. Dante. You should run from me. His breath was warm against my lips. I'm not a good man. I've done things that would make you sick. I'll do worse before this is over. And everyone who gets close to me either dies or wishes they had. Then why tell me this? Because you deserve honesty. His eyes locked on mine. Dark, tortured, raw in a way I'd never seen. Before I destroy you the way I destroy everything else. I should have pulled away. Should have listened to the warning in his words. But my hands moved to his chest instead, feeling his heartbeat through the blood-stained shirt. Fast, hard, human. You saved my life, I said quietly. I also ruined it. Maybe I ruined yours too. Something flickered in his expression. Not quite a smile. More like pain. Yeah, he said, maybe you did. The space between us disappeared. His lips met mine, not gentle, not tentative, desperate. Like he was drowning and I was air. I kissed him back just as fiercely, my hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer even though he was already everywhere. He tasted like violence and smoke, and something underneath that was just him. His hands slid into my hair, tilting my head back, deepening the kiss until I couldn't tell where I ended, and he began. This was wrong. I knew it was wrong. He was a killer. A criminal. The kind of man I should have run from the moment he walked into my apartment. But God help me. I didn't want to run anymore. He pulled back suddenly, his breathing ragged. This can't happen. I know. If I touch you again? He stopped, jaw clenching. I won't be able to stop. I'm not asking you to stop. His eyes searched mine, looking for doubt. Fear, finding neither. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. I stepped closer, eliminating the distance he'd created. I understand that you're dangerous, that everyone around you gets hurt, that I should be terrified of you. My hands moved to his face now, forcing him to look at me. But I also understand that you've kept me alive when it would have been easier to let me die. That you stood in front of a bullet for me. That you're looking at me right now like I'm the thing that scares you most. You are. The confession was barely audible. Broken. Real. Why? I whispered. Because I don't want things. His hands covered mine, pressing them harder against his face. I take what I need, and I walk away. I don't protect people who aren't useful. I don't care about... He stopped, swallowed hard. I haven't cared about anything in so long I forgot what it felt like. And then you opened your door covered in blood, terrified and brave and so fucking alive and... His phone rang. We both froze. He pulled it out, looked at the screen. His expression went cold. I have to take this. Dante, stay here. He stepped back, already moving toward the window. The moment between us shattering like glass. Don't go anywhere. He answered in Russian, his voice hard and controlled. Nothing like the man who'd just kissed me like I was oxygen. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to steady my breathing, trying to make sense of what just happened. He'd kissed me, confessed something that felt more dangerous than any gun, and I'd kissed him back without hesitation. What was wrong with me? Dante's voice rose sharply. He was arguing with whoever was on the phone, his free hand clenched into a fist. Then he went very still. When? He asked quietly. A pause. How many? Another pause. Longer this time. He hung up, stood there for a moment, his back to me, shoulders rigid. What happened? I asked. He turned slowly. His face was a mask again. The vulnerable man from moments ago completely gone. Marcus's family just hit 3 of my warehouses, he said flatly. Burned them to the ground. Killed everyone inside. My blood went cold. How many people? 17. The number hit like a physical blow. Oh my God! They're sending a message, Dante continued, his voice empty. That the card isn't enough. That they want blood for blood. Marcus for... He stopped. Looked at me. For you. Me. They know I'm protecting you. They know where this started. He moved closer, and I saw something dangerous building behind his eyes. They're going to keep killing my people until I give you to them. Fear crawled up my spine. So what are you going to do? I'm going to end this. He grabbed his jacket, checked his gun. Tonight. How? By giving them exactly what they want. My heart stopped. You're going to... No. He was in front of me suddenly, his hands on my shoulders. I'm not giving them you. I'm giving them the illusion of you. A trap. And when they come for it, I'm going to kill every single one of them. That's insane. It's the only way. His grip tightened. But I need you to stay here. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, you stay in this apartment until I come back. And if you don't come back... Something flickered in his eyes. Regret, maybe. Or resignation. Then Alexei will take you to the Canadian border. New identity, new life, 50,000 in cash. He pulled an envelope from his jacket, pressed it into my hands. You disappear. You forget this ever happened. You forget me. Tears burned behind my eyes. I don't want... It's not about what you want anymore. His voice cracked just slightly. It's about keeping you alive. He kissed me again, hard, brief, final. Like goodbye. Then he was gone. I stood there holding the envelope, listening to his footsteps fade down the stairs. Listened to the building settle into silence. Then I heard it. A soft scrape. At the window. I turned slowly. A shadow moved on the fire escape. Someone was already here. I grabbed the nearest weapon, a heavy glass paperweight from Dante's desk, and backed toward the bedroom door. The window slid open. A figure climbed through, graceful and silent. Small. Female. The moonlight caught her face. Irina. I exhaled, my legs nearly giving out. Jesus Christ, you scared me. Good. She closed the window behind her, locked it. You should be scared. Where's Dante? He left. There was an attack on his warehouses. I know. I was there. She pulled off her jacket. Blood streaked her sleeve. Not her blood, I realized. Someone else's. He's walking into an ambush. My stomach dropped. What? The warehouse attacks were a diversion. Irina moved through the apartment with the efficiency of someone who'd been here 100 times. Grabbed Dante's laptop from the desk, opened it. While Dante's men were busy putting out fires, Marcus's family moved their real operation into position. What operation? She typed rapidly, pulled up security footage. Multiple screens, multiple locations. See this? She pointed to one, a warehouse by the docks. Dante thinks he's setting a trap here, but look at the heat signatures. I leaned closer. The building showed at least 30 people inside, armed, waiting. They knew he was coming, I whispered. Someone told them. Irina's jaw tightened. Someone in Dante's inner circle is feeding information to Marcus's family. Has been for weeks. Who? I don't know yet, but whoever it is, they want Dante dead, and they want you delivered. She closed the laptop, looked at me. How much do you trust my brother? I stopped. Did I trust him? A man who'd kidnapped me, lied to me, killed for me? A man who kissed me like I was precious, and then walked away to slaughter 17 people's worth of revenge? I don't know. Good answer. She pulled out her phone, dialed. We need to get to him before... She stopped, listened. Her face went pale. When? She hung up slowly. What? I demanded. He's already there. Her eyes met mine. The shooting started 3 minutes ago. No. I was moving before I could think, grabbing my jacket, heading for the door. Irina caught my arm. Where do you think you're going? To help him. You'll get him killed. Her grip was iron. The moment you show up, every gun in that building will aim at you. That's what they want. You're the bait they couldn't catch, so they're using Dante to draw you out. Then what am I supposed to do? Just wait here while he... No. Irina released me, pulled a gun from her waistband, checked the magazine. You're going to help me find the traitor, because that's the only way to save him. My hands were shaking. How? By being smarter than they think we are. She moved to Dante's safe, a small one hidden behind a painting. Spun the combination with practiced ease, pulled out files, hard drives, a second laptop. Dante keeps records on everyone, every transaction, every phone call, every loyalty test. She spread the files across the coffee table. The traitor is in here somewhere. We just have to find them. I stared at the mountain of information. That could take hours. Then we better work fast. We tore through the files. Names I didn't recognize. Faces I'd never seen. Bank accounts, wire transfers, surveillance photos. Dante's entire empire laid bare on his coffee table. Here. Irina pulled out a photo. These are the men who were supposed to guard the South Warehouse, the one that burned first. She lined up 3 more photos. And these are the men who called in sick that night. That could be coincidence. Nothing is coincidence in this world. She pulled up phone records on the laptop. Look, all 4 of them received calls from the same burner number 6 hours before the attack. My pulse quickened. Can you trace it? Already did. She turned the screen toward me. The phone was purchased at a bodega 3 blocks from here. Cash transaction. But look at the timestamp. I leaned in. The purchase was made at 2:47 p.m. yesterday. Alexei was with me at that time, I said slowly. He brought me here. Exactly. Irina's smile was cold, which means it wasn't him. Then who? Her phone rang. She answered, listened, and her expression shifted into something dangerous. We found him, she said quietly. She looked at me. It's Victor, Dante's second-in-command for 12 years. The man who trained half his soldiers. The man he trusts more than anyone except me. The betrayal in her voice was palpable. Why would he? Money, power, resentment. She stood, grabbed her jacket. Doesn't matter. What matters is Victor knows the trap at the docks, knows Dante's tactics, knows exactly how to kill him. Then we have to warn him. I've been calling. He's not answering. Fear cracked through Irina's control. Which means either his phone is dead or he's already fighting and can't answer. We stared at each other. I'm going, Irina said. You're staying here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except... I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. He's going to die because of me. My voice was steady now, clear. Because Marcus came to my apartment. Because I have the card. Because he chose to protect me instead of letting me go. I'm not sitting in this apartment while he pays for that choice. Irina studied me for a long moment. Then she opened Dante's safe again, pulled out a smaller gun, handed it to me. Have you ever fired one of these? No. Then don't. Not unless someone is about to kill you. And if you do fire it, don't close your eyes. She headed for the door. Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understood? I nodded. We left the apartment together. The drive to the docks took 12 minutes. 12 minutes of silence broken only by Irina's phone calls. Rapid orders in Russian and English, mobilizing Dante's forces, pulling everyone toward the warehouse. They'll be too late, she said finally. We have maybe 20 men who can get there in time. Victor has 50. What are our odds? She looked at me, and for the first time since I'd met her, Irina Volkov looked afraid. Pray, she said. Because odds won't save us tonight. We parked 2 blocks away, approached on foot. The warehouse loomed ahead, massive, dark, silent except for the distant sound of gunfire. We were almost to the entrance when Irina grabbed my arm. Wait, she pointed. A figure emerged from the shadows. Tall, broad, covered in blood. Dante. He was alive, and he was pointing his gun directly at us. Don't move! Dante's voice was raw, edged with something I'd never heard before. Pain, or madness, or both. Dante, it's us, Irina started. I know who you are. The gun didn't waver. Blood dripped from his sleeve, pooled at his feet. His face was a mask of violence and exhaustion. I also know one of you is working with Victor. My breath stopped. That's insane, Irina said. Is it? Dante's laugh was harsh, broken. Victor knew I was coming, knew exactly where I'd position my men, knew which route I'd take. Someone told him. His eyes moved between us, his sister and me. And the only people who knew my plans were you two. I found the evidence, Irina said carefully. I know it's Victor. I was coming to help you. With her? He gestured at me with the gun. The woman who's been at the center of this since the beginning? The woman Marcus died protecting? The woman who just happens to have led Victor's men straight to every piece of leverage I have? That's not true, I whispered. Isn't it? His eyes locked on mine, and I saw the doubt there, the fear underneath the fury. You showed up in my life and everything started falling apart. My men dying, my operations compromised, my own second-in-command turning against me. He stepped closer. Tell me that's coincidence. It is. Then explain how Victor knew you were at my apartment. How Marcus's family knew to hit my warehouses the moment I left you alone. How every move I've made to protect you has cost me everything. His voice cracked. Explain it. I couldn't. Because he was right. Every disaster had circled back to me. Dante. Irina's voice was steady, but I heard the fear underneath. Put the gun down. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. He didn't look at her, only at me. I'm thinking that I broke every rule I have for you. Let you in. Let myself feel something I swore I'd never feel again. And now 17 of my people are dead and Victor is inside that warehouse waiting to finish what Marcus started. Then let me help you. How? The word was a knife. By trusting you? By believing that this isn't all part of some elaborate setup? He laughed again, hollow, destroyed. I've survived 15 years by trusting no one. And the one time I do, the one time I let someone matter. He stopped, closed his eyes. The gun trembled in his hand. I can't do this, he said quietly. Then don't. I stepped forward. Slowly. Irina hissed a warning, but I ignored her. If you think I betrayed you, shoot me, right here, right now. Don't shoot me, I repeated, my voice steady even as my heart shattered. Because if you believe I'm responsible for those 17 deaths, if you believe I used you, then you should. But if there's any part of you that knows I'm telling the truth, any part that remembers why you stood in front of that bullet, then put the gun down and let me prove it. Dante's eyes opened. Met mine. I saw the war inside him, the man who'd learned to trust nothing fighting against the man who'd kissed me like I was salvation. How? He whispered. Let me walk into that warehouse. I stepped closer. Another step. Close enough now that the gun pressed against my chest. Let me be the bait Victor wants, and when he comes for me, you'll know the truth. That's suicide. Then you'll finally be rid of me. My hand moved to cover his, the one holding the gun. But if I'm right, if Victor is the traitor, then you'll have your proof, and we can end this. No. Irina moved toward us. This is insane. It's the only way. I didn't look at her, only at Dante, at the blood on his face, the exhaustion in his eyes, the fear he was trying so hard to hide. You said everyone who gets close to you dies. Maybe that's true. But I'd rather die proving you wrong than live knowing you thought I betrayed you. Silence stretched between us. Behind Dante, the warehouse burned. Smoke rose into the night sky. Somewhere inside, Victor was waiting. Slowly, so slowly, Dante lowered the gun. If you're lying to me, he said, his voice barely audible. If any part of this is an act, it's not. Then God help us both. He released the gun, pulled me against him instead. His forehead pressed to mine, his breathing ragged. Because I can't lose you, even knowing what it costs, even knowing I should. I can't. You won't have to. I pressed my hand to his face, felt the blood and sweat and terror. We end this together. He kissed me, desperate, brief, tasting like smoke and goodbye. Then he pulled back. Irina, he said, his voice hard again. Controlled. Cover the south entrance. Alexei should be in position at the north. We go in 3 minutes. And her? Irina asked. She walks in first. He looked at me. Hands up, unarmed. Exactly what Victor expects. And when he shows himself... You'll be waiting, I finished. He nodded, handed me a small device, no bigger than a button. Put this in your pocket. Tracking beacon. No matter what happens, I'll know where you are. I took it. Our fingers touched. Held. If something goes wrong, I started. Nothing will go wrong. But if it does, then I'll burn the whole building down to get to you. His eyes held mine. Absolute. Final. Do you understand? I will raze this entire city before I let them take you. I believed him. 2 minutes later, I walked toward the warehouse alone. The gun Irina had given me was gone. Dante had taken it, left me defenseless. Bait. Exactly as planned. The warehouse door was open. Smoke billowed out. I stepped inside, hands raised, heart hammering against my ribs. I'm here, I called out. My voice echoed in the cavernous space. This is what you wanted, right? Marcus died for me. You burned warehouses for me. Killed 17 people for me. I moved deeper into the shadows. So here I am. Come finish it. Footsteps echoed from above. The catwalk. Victor emerged from the smoke. Tall. Gray-haired. Familiar from the photos Irina had shown me. He held a gun casually, pointed at the ground. Miss Carver, he said. His voice was smooth, almost kind. I was wondering if you'd be brave enough to show. Where's Dante? Fighting for his life in the East Wing. Victor smiled. Where I need him. Distracted. Bleeding. Perfect. Why are you doing this? Because Dante Volkov is the past. He raised the gun. And I'm the future. I just needed the right leverage to take what's mine. His smile widened. Thank you for being so easy to manipulate. Behind him, a shadow moved. Not Dante. Alexei stepped into the light, gun raised. Boss sends his regards, he said, and fired. Victor's body hit the ground before I could scream. Alexei lowered his gun, turned to me. You good? I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Just nodded. More footsteps, running. Dante appeared from the smoke, Irina behind him. His eyes found mine immediately, scanning for injuries. When he saw I was unharmed, something in his expression cracked. He was in front of me in 3 strides, pulled me against him hard enough that my ribs protested. I didn't care. My hands fisted in his jacket, holding on like he might disappear if I let go. I thought... His voice broke against my hair. When I heard the shot... I'm okay. I pulled back enough to see his face. Blood streaked his temple. A cut above his eyebrow that would scar. But alive. Whole. Are you? Now I am. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. We need to move, Irina said quietly. Police will be here in 5 minutes. Dante didn't let go of me. Clean the scene. Make it look like a gang war. Nothing that traces back to us. And her? Irina gestured to me. His arms tightened. She's with me. 3 weeks later, I stood in front of a different window. Different city. Different life. The apartment Dante had set up was in Boston. Far enough from New York to be safe. Close enough that he could visit. Spacious. Comfortable. Absolutely nothing like the diner waitress apartment I'd left behind. I was supposed to be grateful. Safe. Free. Instead, I felt like I was drowning. The door opened behind me. I didn't turn. I knew his footsteps by now. The way he moved through space like he owned it. You didn't call, Dante said quietly. I didn't know what to say. He came to stand beside me. Close, but not touching. The distance between us felt like an ocean. The FBI closed the investigation, he said. Raymond's son confessed to killing his father before he died. Marcus's family accepted a truce. They got the card, destroyed it themselves. As far as everyone's concerned, the whole thing was settled internally. Convenient. Safe, he corrected. You're safe now. You can go anywhere. Be anyone. I've set up accounts. Enough money that you'll never have to work unless you want to. New identity if you need it. New life. And you? I go back to New York. Back to the business. Back to... He stopped. Back to what I was before. Before me, he meant. I finally turned to look at him. He wore a suit again, expensive, perfectly tailored. The cut above his eyebrow had healed into a thin scar. He looked exactly like what he was, dangerous, powerful, untouchable. Except I'd seen him touch me like I was fragile. Seen him break. Seen him human. Why did you really come here? I asked. His jaw tightened. To make sure you were settled. Liar. To say goodbye. The admission came quietly, painfully, before I convinced myself not to. My chest ached. What if I don't want you to? You should. He stepped closer. One hand lifted, hesitated, then cupped my face. You should want me gone. Want nothing to do with this life. With me. But I don't. Then you're as insane as I am. His thumb traced my cheekbone. Because this doesn't work. You and me. It's impossible. Why? Because I destroy things. Because violence follows me everywhere. Because everyone He stopped. Swallowed hard. Everyone I care about ends up dead or broken. And I can't. I won't do that to you. You already did. My hand covered his. The moment you walked into my apartment, you changed everything. You can't undo that by setting me up in Boston and pretending we don't. I stopped. The words stuck in my throat. Say it, he whispered. I can't. Why? Because once I do, you'll leave. And I'm not ready for that. Tears burned behind my eyes. I refused to let them fall. I'm not ready to go back to being the girl who serves coffee and pretends she's okay. Not after everything. Not after you. Dante's eyes searched mine. What do you want? I want you to stop protecting me from yourself. My voice cracked. I want you to stop deciding what's best for me and let me choose. Even if it's dangerous. Even if it's stupid. Even if it ends badly. It will end badly. Maybe. I stepped closer. Eliminated the distance. Or maybe we're both so broken that we're the only ones who make sense together. His laugh was soft. Destroyed. That's the most fucked up romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Is it working? Yes. He pulled me against him, buried his face in my hair. God help me. Yes. We stood there for a long time. Long enough that the sun started setting. Long enough that I felt his heartbeat slow. Steady. If I stay, he said quietly, if we try this, it won't be normal. I can't give you normal. I don't want normal. You'll be in danger. Always. Anyone who wants to hurt me will use you. Then teach me to protect myself. You'll see things you can't unsee. Know things you can't unknow. I already do. He pulled back enough to see my face. His expression was raw, vulnerable, terrified. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. How to be someone who cares about someone more than the Empire, more than survival. Then we'll figure it out together. I touched his face, traced the new scar. No more running, no more protecting me by pushing me away. We do this honestly or not at all. Honestly. He tested the word like it was foreign, then smiled, small, real, devastating. All right, honestly. He kissed me softly. I'm terrified of you. Good. I kissed him back. I'm terrified of you too. I've killed people. I know. I'll probably kill more. I know that too. And you still want this? I thought about the girl I'd been 3 weeks ago, washing blood off her kitchen floor. Terrified and alone. I thought about who I'd become. Who I might still become. Yes, I said. I still want this. He kissed me again, longer this time. Deeper. Like a promise. Like a threat. Like the beginning of something that would either save us or destroy us completely. Maybe both. Then stay with me, he whispered against my lips. Not here, not hiding. Stay with me in New York, in the real world, in my world. As what? His smile was dark, possessive, absolutely certain. As mine.